and welcome to the Above the Rest podcast, a podcast all about the 10th Force Support Squadron at the Air Force Academy. I'm your host, Taylor Burnfield, and for this episode, I interviewed Casey Graham, who is an adventure guide for the Outdoor Adventure program at the Academy. Outdoor Adventure has several upcoming programs for the winter season, so be sure to tune in to find out about everything they have to offer. Well, thank you for coming up to the studio today.
Yeah, thanks for having me up.
So you work with the Outdoor Adventure program?
Yep.
And how long have you been with them?
I've been at USAFA with that program since January of 13.
Okay.
And before that, I was at Peterson's adventure program for a couple of years as well.
And how did you get involved in this career field?
I went to school for outdoor adventure education, and the end of that degree program was a pretty significant internship program that I had to complete. And at the time, there was a great internship out over at Fort Carson's MWR. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I got into military rec in the first place. Mm-hmm. And through that, made a bunch of different connections here in town, and a bunch of friends at the various outdoor recs. And a couple of years later, I was offered a full-time position at Peterson, and then that springboarded into USAFA.
And do you have a military background?
I don't, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a civilian, always been a civilian DoD employee.
And so with USAFA, what sets their outdoor adventure program from other programs?
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky one because every program has its advantages based on its location and population and all that kind of stuff. I think what we really excel with here in Colorado and at USAFA is really utilizing our natural resources to our benefit. So, we have a lot of mountain-based activities, river-based activities, and some really good, family-based activities as well. Just having the city right here with a ton of those really fun, kind of less expensive resources too. I think one of the things that sets us apart here in town is that, and just in services in general, we're the only program that employs licensed mountain guides for those mountain activities, and we put a really, really high premium on our training processes for our staff to make sure that everybody coming out on a program is getting, at or above the same level of professionalism that they would expect from a really, highbrow outdoor adventure style program from the commercial sector. So obviously, much less expensive than the commercial sector, but we don't think that should detract from the quality that people get. Yeah.
And you mentioned the training that the guides have. What type of training do they have?
Whatever activity it is that they are leading, they have that professional skill set and credentialing. So if they're a raft guide, most of our raft guides are Royal Gorge certified, licensed Colorado raft guides. Many of them are guide instructors as well, and have swiftwater rescue qualifications through the American Canoe Association. If they're a mountain ops person, then it kind of varies on what it is they're doing, but they operate within the scope of practice from the American Mountain Guides Association for that. And so we have everything from single pitch instructors that'll take you out for some great beginner trips all the way up to licensed international mountain guides that can take you to Europe if you want to go and go ski there. But ultimately, folks with not just credentialing, but also a great deal of experience to back that up, so they understand how to meet folks where they're at in terms of their skill levels that they're coming in with.
What programs does Outdoor Adventure have coming up for the winter?
For the winter, we are really stacked with a lot of, we've got backcountry skiing programs, we have resort ski programs as well, where we'll drive people up for the day and give them discounted rentals, things like that. We've got avalanche education courses. We're the only accredited program in the DoD to offer avalanche education courses for kind of, the broader customer base, not just military training. We've also got a lot of ice climbing programs, day programs, weekend programs, We have a great kids camp coming up through December break, and that's a week-long camp over that second week of that break, where we'll get kids out, ice climbing and tubing and building snow shelters and all that kind of stuff too. So those are some of the big things that we've got coming up, as well as a ski and soak weekend up at Monarch and Princeton Hot Springs. So that'll be pretty fun too.
And how can people sign up for those trips if they're interested?
Yeah, they can just give us a shout in the office and check the website for our most current offerings. They can also look us up on social media. We often put out, little promotions and things like that throughout the season, and we also post a bunch of our photos from our trips too, so folks can get an idea of what it is that we're doing out there and what's included and things like that.
And what is your social media? You have Instagram and Facebook?
Yep, and we're just at USAFA OAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you all have in the spring and summer? Have you planned that far ahead yet?
Yeah, we're usually planned, at least 9 months out, if not a year sometimes. So for the spring, we have raft guide training that comes up. We're always looking for great volunteers to come out if they want to, get trained up. And we hire folks for the summer as well. But we'll put them through the licensure process, usually in April. We do a lot of ski mountaineering up on Pikes Peak. We're one of the very few permit holders to be able to guide on Pikes Peak. So we do that through, March, April, and May generally is when the snow is holding up there. Super fun programs, really easy right here in town on our backyard 14er. And then once the summer really kicks off, it's rafting, whitewater rafting, class 3 to 5, family friendly to really high adventure class through the Royal Gorge and Bighorn Sheep Canyon. We do kayaking programs, we do kids camps, we do, just straight up hikes in some pretty beautiful locations, and then a lot of rock climbing as well, which is a, pretty fantastic activity here in Colorado to take advantage of.
If someone was interested in becoming a guide for outdoor adventure, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, I think emailing us just at usafaoap@gmail would be a good start, so that way we could figure out where folks would like to get training and what types of activities they wanted to get involved with. We do, like I said, have a pretty high bar for professionalism in our guide staff, and so we make sure that folks have all of the professional credentialing that they need and the experience to back all of that up too. So those are the things that we'd want to see from somebody trying to come in to at least get a paid guiding position. We also have a lot of volunteer opportunities, like I said, through the raft guide program specifically. And that stuff, we'll take folks in, we'll train them here in house. We, make them drink the Kool-Aid for the outdoor rec community here, and then they get to ride the river all season long with us, which is really fun. But yeah, for some of our other programs, we're always looking for drivers. We have a really big mountain bike program as well for downhill biking. Again, one of the few programs that can take people down the Pikes Peak Highway, which is a really fun trip. And we're always looking for volunteers and guides for that type of stuff as well. So you don't have to be super technically competent with all of the mountain stuff necessarily. You can come in and help out in that capacity initially, and then start working your way up towards other things if you want.
And do you all pay for their training if someone comes in and they are interested in being a guide, or?
For some of it. So we do collect a training fee for the raft guide training. It's fairly minimal when you put it into the scope of 10 weeks or 10 weekends of training that you're out on the river. As far as other training, once folks are on payroll or they're an official volunteer for us in some capacity, we often offer a lot of those trainings in-house. So, Swiftwater is free, first aid CPR is free. Our single pitch instructor courses through the AMGA that we offer here in-house, we often cover that either in totality or at least everything except the membership fees. So that way it's way more accessible. So we offer a lot of those types of opportunities, and then ongoing mentorship as well is a big tenet of our staff.
What is your favorite part about your job?
My favorite part, probably the places I get to go with the people that I get to go to them with. Yeah, we have a really great community of folks that come out for a lot of programs, and one of the real advantages of being a guide is that the folks that you work with, they're not just clients, they often turn into friends as well. And so, that's a pretty special place to be in your career, I think, when the folks that you work with the most are also, part of your friend community. So we get to see them a lot. And then the places we go are just, incredible. Colorado is just stacked with so many cool day trips to explore and experience. And then the stuff that we do, outside of Colorado for, a lot of our custom programs and trainings. I mean, we'll go to Japan this winter again, and, we've been in Europe a number of times and probably go back this summer. And, I've taken folks up to Alaska before and all over the Southwest. We do a Grand Canyon trip with Fort Tuttle, every summer now, which is a really incredible experience too. And there's so much to experience out here, and so many folks that seem to be stoked about it. So it's a pretty fun way to spend, a work day for sure.
What is your favorite place that you've traveled through USAFA Outdoor Adventure?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Yeah. I don't know that I have a favorite one, to be honest. The trips that we get to take folks to, they all kind of have their own character and their own, kind of just, special place there. I mean, again, like heli skiing in Alaska was pretty amazing, right? Powder skiing in Japan was, bucket list item, right? And to be able to like go back to those places, with some regularity and develop those communities is pretty great. Honestly, I think some of my favorite trips have been up here on Pikes Peak locally. I think it's a pretty underappreciated 14er in terms of outdoor recreation. In terms of like other 14ers, you hear a lot about like Longs Peak and Quandary, and Pikes has a highway that goes to the top of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It's gorgeous up there, yeah.
Alpine access, and you can drive for 20 minutes and be above tree line, and then be able to go and climb some really cool thing in an amazing position, or ski this beautiful, 1,000-foot, essentially blue square style line, down to the road, and then go get a donut. Like it's a pretty unique experience in a really beautiful place, and like, a half-day trip right outside your back door. So
yeah. If someone had never been skiing or mountain biking or rock climbing, do you all offer beginner courses to teach people how to do those things?
Yeah, great question. Most of our trips are, what we call 0 to hero. So like you don't need any experience, and especially if it's one of our weekend trips, we get you to a spot where you feel pretty empowered and pretty, pretty skillful with those basic skill sets. The one exception is probably our backcountry ski trips. You do need to be a competent skier or a snowboarder to engage with that, just because backcountry snow is much, much different than the snow that you get on piste on the resorts. And so we want to make sure that just, folks aren't going to get hurt, twist a knee, that type of stuff. So we want to make sure folks are competent at riding for those programs. So that would be our backcountry skiing and our avalanche programs. But everything else, ice climbing, rock climbing, like we take folks from never put a harness on, have never even seen a climbing rope, right, all the way up to, we were just in Vegas working with Nellis Air Force Base, and I had a client who had come through a beginner course with me maybe 10 years ago, and now he's climbing 13 pitch, 2,000 foot rock routes with me. It's so we can take folks all the way up and teach them a lot of those skills in the middle as well. I think it's a tenet of American kind of like go-get-itism, right? Where it's like we want to learn how to do it ourselves. And I think that's great. So that's what our program really focuses on, is not just getting people out for some of this stuff, but teaching them how to be able to do it independently if they want in the future as well.
Have you ever had a client who was a beginner and then they eventually became a guide?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a couple actually on
That's
staff.
Awesome.
Yep. A lot of our raft guide staff started that way. They came out with with their Boy Scout troop or their squadron or something like that. And, maybe they did that for a couple of seasons, their families, and had a great time and decided like, hey, this would be a great, weekend warrior style, activity to be able to do. So a lot of our Raft Guide staff kind of meets that description. And a good chunk of our climbing folks have kind of, come through that way as well. They did maybe a single pitch instructor course to start down that professional pathway, or maybe an ARI, an ARI 1 avalanche course. And from that, they caught the bug and just wanted to pursue more and more education and mentorship and get better and better at their craft. And then, eventually they came back and we hired them on. So
yeah, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite activity that you enjoy guiding, or do you like them all equally?
I like pretty much everything that I do. Skiing is definitely the thing that pokes up more than anything else. If I could ski 12 months out of the year, I would.
Yeah.
But my wife would probably be upset about that, because I'd have to go to another hemisphere. So.
Yeah.
Big thing is with the winter programs coming up, we've got some great trips. We are usually 25 to 50% less expensive than the commercial option for a lot of these same types of programs. And I think another big advantage that we have in our program is we outfit folks with everything they need. So if you were to go out to X Mountain Guides and do a backcountry ski course or an ice climbing course, you'd probably have to rent a bunch of gear as well and then drive yourself up there and all that kind of stuff. We generally provide transportation in our GOVs, as well as outfit you with all the gear you need, and we kind of walk you through that whole process too, and provide some discounts on things that maybe we can't provide too. So I think that's something to kind of just remember for folks. And signups are open for the whole winter. And we do a lot of custom trips if folks want to, just come out and have their own private group. We try to keep those at the same pricing, and we're always on board for that stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and talking with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor.
Thanks. Thank you again for listening, and be sure to stay up to date on everything happening at the Support Squadron on our website, usaphasupport.com, and our various social media profiles on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.